Hi, my name's Caitlin Orsargos, and I did my final project on East Asia's influence on the world in contemporary times with soft powers. So, the first thing I want to talk about is the Korean cinema industry. The Korean cinema industry tries to limit Hollywood movies in South Korea so that Korean cinema is more successful within the country. However, Korean cinema is often inspired by Hollywood and it sometimes copies some of Hollywood's work to become more successful. The Host is a great Korean blockbuster directed by Bong Joon-ho. The movie helps represent the incident in the year 2000 when a U.S. military personnel working in Korea ordered for certain toxic chemicals to be dumped into the Han River. This is seen as the monster or the host in the movie. Parasite is also another great Korean blockbuster by the same director, Bong Joon-ho. And just like the host, it also addresses serious social issues that they face within the country. So the host is one of the Korea's biggest blockbusters, and it became super famous all over the world because of how the special effects were used, which to make the terrifying monster, which is something that many great blockbusters have in common. It also became a popular movie worldwide because of how the monster or the host represented the Korean government and how some Korean citizens feel that they can't trust the authorities that work for the government. They feel this way because of the type of relationship Korea has with the US government. And then, like I said before, it's a representation of the US military personnel that dumped the chemicals. The Korean Wave. The Korean Wave arose because of the 1997 Asian financial crisis that's helped, and then spreading Korean culture all over the world would bring in lots of tourism to the country, and people consuming Korean goods would bring in more money to the economy in Korea. Even food and agriculture would help brand the nation and bring more attention to Korea to help the country get out of the crisis. And then here at the bottom are many Korean dishes that we have here in the US that are also in Korea, but I've tried before, like Korean fried chicken and kimchi. Squid Games. Or Squid Game. It's one of Netflix's most popular series and includes 3 seasons. The series is based on South Korean culture. The show uses traditional Korean childhood games as the central plot, but turns them deadly for the characters in the show. Themes of social and economic inequality within South Korean society are also incorporated into the episodes. The show really portrays Korean culture through elements like specific Korean songs, candies, and even the color red, which carries lots of symbolic meaning in Korean culture. And this just shows how that Korea has spread their culture through like US platforms, like huge platforms like Netflix to spread their culture around the world. K-pop. K-pop is a popular South Korean based music genre that blends in other cultures and is greatly inspired by Western cultures. K-pop includes lots of Asian dancing and gestures, but most of the actual music sounds very Western, as it includes hip hop verses, rapping verses, and other more Western sounding lyrics. The Western culture was blended into the Korean music genre of K-pop because of all the American military personnel who were living in Korea after World War II. There were tens of thousands of Americans living in South Korea after the war, so they had a huge impact and influence on the music culture there in Korea. Popular music groups like Blackpink, BTS, and many others arose from this Western style mu Korean music, and the groups have become international hits. And then here are many idols in K-pop, and behind my screen is an American troupe in Korea. BTS or Bangtan BTS started as an underdog music group, and they often sing about personal and mental issues in their songs, which was not the norm in Korea and was never really done before. Since this was not the standard in Korea, BTS stood out among the other K-pop groups. BTS was not just handed their success like other K-pop groups through one of the big three Korean entertainment companies. They were hard workers and they made it to the top through pure determination and their own self-work. BTS always shows how grateful they are for their fans because they know without their fans they wouldn't be anywhere near where they are today. This is why they have a huge fan base called ARMY. The boys of BTS often do live streams to show how much they appreciate their fans. And then here's one of their most popular songs called Butter.
Like butter, like a criminal undercover. Don't have like trouble breaking into your heart like that. Cool shakes on the girl. Oh, it'll blow my mother. Hot like summer. Yeah, making you sweat like that. Down. Oh, when I let you know, I'll let you have it. I can't be super closer.
It's just an example of one of their music videos, which they have many that have been very successful. And where did sorry. Japanese soft power. In recent years, Japan has become a huge cultural influence all over the world, including everything from anime to food to tourism and so much more. Japan has gained lots of global attention from these topics. The 2020 Olympics that were held in Tokyo, Japan, gave the country even more attention. The Olympics gave Japan the opportunity to showcase their culture, and the main way they did this was through their anime characters. They knew the cute characters would gain everyone's attention and bring in more love for the country. And down at the bottom are Japanese dishes, anime characters, and the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Japanese manga. Japanese manga are graphic novels that are stories created mostly through pictures, and they are often in a comic book format. The actual meaning of the Japanese term manga means curious sketches or whimsical drawings. There are many different types of manga, which include kimono manga, which is comics for little kids, shion manga for teen boys, shoujo manga for teen girls, Shin manga for young adult males, Seijin manga for adult males, Shoujo manga for young adult females. Sorry if I messed those up. American comics also inspired manga's format and production, but manga's style itself and narrative is very unique and its own. It draws in inspiration from Japanese art and storytelling traditions, and then at the side, Dragon Ball is a very popular manga series, and Naruto is also super popular in the US. Chinese soft power. Within the last 5 years, China has gone from the fifth top country in soft power ranking to the second, right after the US. They have done this by spreading their culture all over the world. This includes things like food, electric vehicles, animals, desserts, technology, trinket and Chinese goods shops, and many more. China has also used the panda bear as the face of their country to spread their culture around the world through soft power. This has worked very well for them because of how cute and loving everyone sees the panda as. And there's even a couple pandas in the US in places like the Washington Zoo or Washington, D.C. And then here are many popular Chinese dishes, which are very good, and things like dumplings and wontons are very popular here in the US. Chinese web fiction. China is the number one producer and consumer of web fiction in the entire world, and there are about 502 web fiction readers in China, which is close to half the online population in China. This is a huge business in China as it's worth $4.4 billion each year. More internet users in China use web fiction than the amount of internet users that use food delivery platforms. There are many different types of Chinese web fiction, which include things like genre fiction, pulp fiction, light novel, and electronic literature. And here are many different Chinese web fictions. Web fiction abroad. In 2013, Chinese web fiction novels became bestsellers in Vietnam, and later on, a very popular website called Wuxia World was launched. This became the first ever website that was dedicated to translating the Chinese web novels into the English language. A couple years later, in 2017, Chinese web fiction companies started running their own publishing platforms for the English language. Now, Chinese web fiction is even available on Amazon for people in the US to order, and Chinese dramas can even be found on Netflix. The Untamed is a very popular Chinese drama that is watched by many people in the US on Netflix. Chinese movie stars. Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan are two world-famous Chinese movie stars who inspired the Chinese culture in America and all over the world. So this is Bruce Lee, and one of his obviously one of the most famous actors of all time. He was known for his martial arts skills and being very fit and strong as a Chinese figure. In his movies, he would always defeat his antagonists with ease, even if it was just him versus multiple others to rise up the Chinese culture. When the Chinese culture and people were looked down upon in America, he built a new brand for them, and he did this by showing off his amazing skills and muscular body. One of his greatest movies was Enter the Dragon, which is a very iconic and influential film of his that became a global hit. The other great Chinese movie star, Jackie Chan. He's currently still alive and he's 71 years old, martial artist who's world famous, and he's from Hong Kong. Some of his most famous works are The Karate Kid and the Rush Hour film series, which are still popular today. The Rush Hour series is a more lighthearted film series that includes Jackie Chan's martial arts skills with a more American background, while Bruce Lee's movies are based more on him and his fighting skills and more of a Chinese culture. Rush Hour is a movie that takes social issues and turns them more comedic, which fans seem to enjoy and seems to be more popular these days. And then on the bottom left is the cover of Rush Hour with Jackie Chan as Lee and Chris Tucker, his partner, as Carter. Thank you. And then these are also all forms of entertainment that South Korea, Japan, and China have spread their culture around the world by using soft power. Thank you.